Bruce Lee's lightning quick actions, knocking down multiple opponents within a second, have stunned the world of sports. How can these athletes perform such fascinating movements so flawlessly? What kinds of learning process brought these athletes to such levels? Is any human being capable of performing such incredible movements with the proper training? Using motor learning perspective, we will be able to answer these questions. Can answer, especially the different theories that talk about how learning happens. But we are only PE teachers. Why do we need to study about the different theories of motor learning? The majority of human movements are learned skills. Let us not forget that. And the human body has a total of 656 skeletal muscles, and these muscles must be coordinated with each other to produce the designated movements. Without proper training, it is almost impossible for any human being to engage in coordinated movements. As PE teachers, we have to make sure that children are able to perform simple motor tasks properly. Previously, we have defined what motor learning is. And when we say motor learning, these are relatively permanent gains in the motor capability of our students associated with practice or experience. However, motor learning is essential not only for us who are in the field of PE and sports, but in different areas or professions. Motor learning is also studied, such as in kinesiology, in physical therapy, even those in the military or special forces. They need to have a correct understanding of proper motor learning processes. Pero para sa ating mga guro sa physical education, ang target natin ay makapagturo ng maayos, mai-transfer natin ng tama yung mga skills na dapat matutunan ng mga bata. So we are always in the search for the most effective training or teaching approaches that will help our learners to efficiently master the required skills in the minimum amount of time. And we hope that different theories of motor learning will help us accomplish that task. So we have a lot of theories of motor learning. I allowed you to explore them individually. So, bawat isa ay nagkaroon ng kanya-kanyang theory na i-discuss. I hope that you explored each other's individual presentation. But allow me to summarize these theories today. So, we will be talking about 9 different theories. So, supposedly 8 lang, but I included the open loop theory since it is related to closed loop theory. So, we have 9 theories of motor learning. So, we are going to discuss the stage theories. So, meron yung kay Fitz and Posner and kay Gentile. We would also talk about Bandura's observational learning theory. Of course, yung theory ni Bandura has already been used in the field of education. Very useful siya, no? Pero magagamit din natin yan sa PE. Hindi naman para palitan natin yung mga theories na most appropriate in studying motor learning. Pero malaking bagay kasi yung theory ni Bandura in understanding how students learn through observation. We also have Anderson's adaptive control of thought na isa sa mga cognitive theory. We also have open loop and a closed loop theory, schema theory of Smith, and the dynamical systems theory and ecological approach theory. So what I did was I organized them according to how related they are to each other para madali nating maintindihan ang bawat isa. So first up, we have Fitz and Posner's model of motor learning. So according to Fitz and Posner, there are 3 stages of motor learning. These 3 stages are the cognitive, the associative, and the autonomous stages. So in each stage, a learner has certain characteristics or certain problems that they need to solve so as they can move on to the next stage. At the cognitive stage, it is simpler to learn the skill by acquiring information about the skill. And therefore, the problem that the learner has to solve is understand what to do. So, in the process of understanding what to do, the learner needs to acquire the information because he or she is attempting to cognitively understand the requirements and the parameters of the motor movement that he or she is going to do. So in short, less pa yung motor movement o yung movement, physical movement na ginagawa, but the learner is using more of cognitive ability, cognitive processes, no, sa pag-analyze kung paano niya gagawin yung movement. Tinatawag din ito na verbal motor stage or verbal cognitive stage kasi kinakailangan na communicate natin sa kanila kung paano nila gagawin yung skill. In the associative stage, the learners have mastered the basic form of the movement and now they are beginning to do the skill. So the problem here at this stage is learning how to perform the skill. So kanina sa first stage, ang problem learner is to acquire the information paano gagawin. Information on what to do. But on this stage, kailangan magawa na niya. Yan. So meron ng involvement ang motor ability or movement, no? So, hindi na lang verbal information. So, less na tayo sa verbal information. More on allowing the student to really perform the skill. So, at this stage, conscious na yung performance natin. Talagang on the process na siya of executing the skill. So, there are a lot of awkward and disjointed movements. And at this stage, it's normally the longest time, no, that to complete, no. Ito yung mahaba yung oras na ina-engage ni learner yung sarili niya to be able to complete the stage. Okay, at the third stage or the autonomous stage, ito naman yung nakarating na si learner sa kanyang elite level. Now, the learner is able to perform the movement automatically. So, meron na tayong tinatawag na state of flow. So, yung tuloy-tuloy na, hindi less na yung thinking, no? Ang response natin ay sobrang bilis na. Hindi na niya pinag-iisipan yung kanyang mga action na kagaya ng ginagawa niya sa mga previous stages. Kasi nga, andun na siya sa autonomous stage wherein the performance is automatic and cognitive and processing demands are very minimal. In this slide, you will see the summary of the different stages according to Fitz and Posner's stages of motor learning. Clarify ko lang, dun sa cognitive stage, we're not saying that there are no motor skills being performed at that stage. Yun nga lang, may nagko-concentrate lang tayo dun sa cognitive ability niya. More on processing cognitively on how you're going to perform the skill. But the student is executing the skill. Okay? You're still executing the skill. And at this stage, there are large gains. Ibig sabihin, malaki yung improvement na nangyayari or nag-gain ng bata. However, there are inconsistent performance in the way the skill is performed. Pagdating naman sa associative stage, there are smaller gains acquired kasi we are refining the skill. So, ito na yung nitty-gritty nung hinihimay na natin yung skill. Alam kong naiintindihan niyo yung sinasabi ko dahil I'm sure you have experienced this in teaching your students that when you teach the beginners, they are slow at first but once they understood, no? Once na naintindihan na nila, nabigyan mo na sila ng information paano nila gagawin at na-execute na nila paunti-unti yung skill, darating yung time na nire-refine na natin yung skill nila. Yan. So, however, this is the stage na mas matagal, no, bago makarating dun sa autonomous stage. Sometimes, it will take years. Diba? Sabi nga natin, 10,000 hours before you get to the autonomous or automatic stage. So, these are the 3 stages of learning according to Fitts and Posner. Next, we're going to discuss about Gentile's 2-stage model. Si Gentile naman, hinati niya lang sa 2 yung kanyang model of skill acquisition. The first one, you have the initial acquisition stage, and stage 2 is skill refinement stage. However, under stage 1, there are 8 steps. So, parang ganun din, ano? At the early stage, you have 8 steps to follow. So, you have to first understand the task goals, intindihin kung paano gagawin yung task. Then, you plan your movement strategies. And then, you become aware of the stimuli in the environment. Then, you select what stimuli in the environment will affect your performance. Yun yung sinasabi nating regulatory features of the environment. You recognize kung ano yung features of the environment that will affect your performance. So, that's the first stage. Actually, sa first stage, Gentile is also saying that motor plan or plan of action is already formulated and initiated. There is already also the aspect of getting feedback from the KP and the KR, and also to eventually act. So, medyo mas mabusisi yung stages ni Gentile, and that is only the first stage or early stage. Pagdating sa late stage, nire-refine na ni learner yung movement, nagkakaroon na ng consistent and efficient performance. At dito na yung sinasabi natin na kapag closed type yung skill, at the late stage, no, it becomes fixated. Okay? At kapag naman open yung skill, it becomes diversified. Okay? So, ano ibig sabihin ng closed skills become fixated? So, mas nagiging consistent yung mga closed skill. Whereas, yung mga open skills ay mas nagagamit natin in varying or open skill situations. This slide is another way of explaining how closed skill and open skill become fixated or diversified. I think I borrowed this from the presentation of Noy. Actually, in all the different theories, kumukuha ako ng paisa, 2 slide, just so I can relate my presentation to your presentation. Next up, we have Bandura's observational learning theory. And I'm sure you're very much familiar with Bandura's theory. Ngayon, ang tanong, paano natin ito nagagamit sa physical education? Napakalaki ng role na ginagampanan ng proper observation ng estudyante sa teacher habang ini-execute ni teacher yung skill. Kasi it's only through proper observation of the student towards the teacher na na-acquire niya yung mga requisites, no, kung paano niya gagawin yung skill. It has been discussed very well in the video of Dane, the difference between deliberate and incidental observation, and there are keys, no, to successful observational learning, and that is reinforcement. emphasize ko lang yung importance ng mental imagery when learning motor skills together with verbal coding. So mental imagery is the way that by which we practice, no, or train mentally the motor pattern. However, mental imagery alone is not enough. So kailangan na experience na muna ng bata yung skill, and then sa kanya ipoprocess yun using mental imagery para mas maging effective yung process of using mental imagery. In verbal coding, this is similar to what Fitz and Posner would like us to do during the cognitive stage, wherein we break down into words or language what the child is supposed to be doing. So, kailangan ma-verbalize muna natin, masabi natin, no? Probably by using cues on what the child needs to do. Okay? So, together with observation, mental imagery, and verbal coding, together with motoric reproduction, we will be able to bring about effective, no, motor skills learning to our students. So, it's not enough that we observe. Hindi sapat na nakita lang na ginawa, no? Hindi yun ang sinasabi ni Bandura. Kinakailangan there is physical practice. And for physical practice to happen, kailangan ma-verbalize din natin, no, sa bata kung paano niya gagawin. There is, yung verbal coding kasi can also be a form of feedback. And then, mentally practice the skill. So, as you can see, there are similarities among different theories that I have mentioned. Medyo konektado yung bawat isa. Mas makikita nyo pa yung connections nila as you go on to the next theory, such as Anderson's adaptive control of thought theory. Anderson's adaptive control of thought theory is actually very complicated. Kasi hindi lang naman ito sa sports and PE na gamit. Actually, ito yata yung pinag-aaralan ng mga nasa psychology as well as in neuropsychology, no? Neuroscience. So, magandang theory ito. Napaka-scientific niya. Pero how does it apply to PE and sports? So, i-relate lang natin siya dun sa theory ni Fitz and Posner. Ang sabi kasi ni Anderson, there are two types of knowledge. Okay? In the first stage of learning, we have declarative knowledge. And when we say declarative knowledge, it is knowledge about what and how to perform a skill. So, ibig sabihin, yung explicit knowledge natin kung ano at paano gagawin yung skill, which is very similar to Fitz and Posner's stage of learning. And then, subsequently, the second stage is the procedural knowledge, wherein this is the knowledge that we are actually able to do, no, without even thinking about how to do it, which is also, again, similar to Fitz and Posner's autonomous stage. So, I refer you to Hannah's slide, which is, I think, she was able to discuss it very well, no, yung relationship between declarative and procedural memory in the way that we were able to use that to respond as well as to execute a skill. Let me just emphasize that according to Anderson, you need to acquire first the declarative memory before you are able to execute, no, the procedural memory or procedural knowledge. So, kinakailangan maintindihan. Ganun din, ano? Going back, kapareho nung naunang theory na pinag-usapan natin, kailangan maintindihan muna ng bata bago niya magawa. Moving on to the next theory, we have open loop theory. As you can see in the figure, this is the figure that best illustrates when you say open loop. So, open siya. Yan. So, yung end or yung output, hindi siya bumabalik dun sa input. Kaya, open loop. Pero huwag kayong malilito kasi normally, pag sinabi nating open loop, ano yung skill na ginagamit? Okay? So, ano yung skill na ginagamit in an open loop theory? It's normally closed skill. Okay? Yan. So, baka malito kasi kayo doon. So, yung pinag-uusapan natin ay yung open loop theory na kung saan yung paggamit ng feedback ang pinag-uusapan. Okay? Sa open loop theory kasi, we do not use or refer to feedback. Okay? Anong ibig sabihin nun? Habang ginagawa natin yung skill, hindi na natin siya mababago pa, okay, according to unexpected changes in the environment o kaya naman from your intrinsic feedback. Okay? So, hindi mo na pwedeng bawiin pa. Halimbawa, yung naihagis mo na yung bola or na-execute mo na yung isang throw. So, once na nagawa mo na, hindi mo na siya pwedeng i-adjust or i-modify or baguhin. Kaya, ang tawag sa kanya ay open loop theory. At yun nga, kadalasang nakikita siya sa execution ng mga closed skill. So, this skill was developed by William James. So, this theory states that attention is focused only on the initiation of the first action of the movement. And once that the performer has begun performing the skill, there is nothing they can do to adjust it because the movement is so fast. So here are some examples that show us open loop theory. Before I discuss the closed loop theory, ipapakita ko muna sa inyo bakit ba tinawag na open yung isa at yung namang isa ay closed. So, kagaya ng illustration natin kanina, hindi bumabalik yung information from the output to the input. Kaya hindi siya nagsara. No? Kaya open siya. Whereas, dun sa closed loop feedback system, nagsara. Ayan, kasi yung feedback na galing sa process or maaaring may feedback na galing sa output ay bumabalik as information to be used to modify, okay, or change the process. So, in a very concise manner, Adams' closed loop theory explains that the performer is able to adjust the performance according to the differences in the conditions by feeding output information back as an input. So, this slide was taken from Shello's presentation, and I think she was able to explain it very well, as well as the two levels of closed loop theory. Meron kasing dalawang level yan. No? So, maayos naman kung if you want to go back to that definition, you go back to Shello's presentation. Next, we have Smith's schema theory. Ito, isa rin ito sa mga mahirap i-explain na theory kasi medyo cognitive talaga siya. No? Isa ito dun sa mga purely cognitivist yung theory niya. So, when you say schema, these are mental processes. So, sino pa yung isang cognitivist na gumamit ng salitang schema? I think you're very familiar with Piaget's theory. Okay, so si Piaget, pinaliwanag niya kung paano natututo ang bata. According to him, nakaka-form tayo ng schema within our brain and that schema dictates or can predict or controls the way we think or respond. No? So, kung ano yung schema na meron tayo about an object, yun yung kaalaman natin tungkol doon. So, unless mabago yung schema na yun, yun yung kaalaman natin. So, ang tanong, pareho ba yung definition na ginagamit ni Piaget at ni Smith sa pag-define ng salitang schema? Okay, so let's talk about that. So, kay Smith, ang definition ng schema is a set of generalized rules that are generic to a group of movements. Okay? And this set of rules guides the decision-making about the goal of the skill. So, ibig sabihin, may idea na tayo kung paano natin gagawin ang isang motor skill. Okay? For example, pag sinabi nating run, okay, meron ng motor program, okay, or meron ng schema embedded in our minds on how we're going to run. Once na natutunan ng bata yung schema na yon, hindi mo na ituturo paulit-ulit yung pagtakbo. Okay? Hindi every time na sinabi mong run, ituturo mo uli sa kanya kung paano tumakbo. Okay? Once na-acquire na-embed na sa isip ng bata yung schema on how to run, and you say it again, alam na niya kung paano niya gagawin yung action word na sinabi mo. In this case, run. According to the reference that I gave you at that I uploaded in our school book, it is said there that Richard Smith was one of Adam's students. However, Adam was not satisfied with his theory, and so he encouraged his students to question the theory and also to come up with answers. So, that's why, na-create naman yung theory ni Smith. So, as I've mentioned earlier, may ginagamit siyang term, yung schema. At yung schema is based on a generalized motor program, a recall schema, and a recognition schema. So, pag sinabi nating recall schema, ito yung embedded na in our memory. Okay? So, once you tap on that, you can do the action that is said to you. Kaya nga kagaya kanina, sabi nun, takbo or run. So, meron kang schema for that. You just have to recall that from the memory. Yun yung, ang nire-recall mo na memory ay dun mo makukuha sa iyong generalized motor program. Pero sometimes, it's not enough that you just run. Sometimes, you have to change or make appropriate action or changes in the action para maka-adapt ka dun sa environment. At yun naman yung recognition schema or based dun sa kanyang recognition memory, which allows the individual to evaluate the ongoing movement and to make the necessary or appropriate changes in the action. Okay? So, yun yung medyo kaiba naman dun sa kanya. Hindi lang basta recall, Kailangan din merong recognition para makaka-adapt ka dun sa changes sa environment. So, this is taken from Tim's presentation. So, maganda yung presentation ni Tim, So, maganda rin yung definition na ginamit niya dito about generalized motor program. Tama, Tama yung definition. We're down to the last two theories. And this is dynamical systems theory. Magkasunod yung dalawa, dynamical and ecological, kasi they are related to each other. So, according to dynamical systems theory, there are three subsystems that interact with each other that allows or explain for the movement behavior to happen. Yun yung individual or the body, the task at hand, and the environment. So, these subsystems interact or come together to produce the most efficient movement solution for each specific task. Okay? So, kaya dynamic system siya kasi palaging nagbabago. There is always adaptation of motor behavior. Diba pag sinabi nating dynamic, always changing. Thank you nga pala kay Elle and kay Aris for these slides. So at the center of dynamical systems theory is what we call as affordances. Okay? And the word perception. Okay? So, para nagkaroon ng adaptation dun sa nangyayari sa paligid, the learner has to perceive the affordances in the environment. Ano yung mga affordances? Pag sinabi natin affordances, these are the stimulus, or these are what is happening in the environment. These are the cues, these are the stimulus, yes, from the sensory systems, no? Yun yung, or other things that can affect, hindi lang stimulus. There are other things that can affect how students can respond. Kasi andun din yung task mismo, okay? Andun din yung organismic constraints or yung personal capability or weaknesses of the person himself. So our task as instructor is to help our learners perceive the affordances for themselves. Kasi similar siya sa guided discovery na kung saan hindi mo sinasabi directly sa bata na, oy, watch out for this, watch out for that, but you let them explore, no? By giving them the opportunity to experience for themselves, 'di ba? Kung paano niya i-execute yun given the certain scenario. Last topic is ecological approach by James Gibson. I appreciate Nina's presentation on this topic, no? So malinaw din naman na ipaliwanag ni Nina. Medyo komplikado din yung ecological approach kasi nakabase siya sa perceptive psychology. Okay? But I know that you are familiar with this because we have been talking about perceptual motor development. So, pag sinabi natin perceptual motor development, there are 4 aspects, di ba? Sensory input, okay? Di ba? What's next? Yan. So, yung 4 na sistema na yun, yun lang yung sinasabi ni Gibson. So, in ecological approach, perception is specific to each person and that the environment is perceived in terms of its usefulness for the person, for the perceiver. So, we have numerous ways of perceiving the environment. Kaya under siya ng dynamical system. Yan. So, kasi nagbabago, no? How one person will perceive the environment will be very different from another person. It just depends on the affordances, ayun na naman yung term, that is present in the environment that allows the person to react or respond. Ecological approach uses the bottom-up processing wherein you get data from the environment through your retina. Yan, di ba? Pumapasok sa retina natin. And then this is transmitted to the visual cortex. And that data from the visual cortex is processed to form the visual experience. Early in life, we already acquire that ability to use perception to guide our action. So, bata pa lang tayo, kung wala naman tayong visual impairment, so, madali tayong nakaka-respond, no, with the use of our perceptive ability. Because perception allows us to focus on detecting the information in the environment that will support the action that is necessary to achieve the goal. So I hope that all these theories have helped you. So in the next lesson, I will be discussing the application of these theories. Thank you very much, and I hope that you and your family are safe and well. Namimiss ko na kayong lahat. I hope to see you soon. God bless you. Thank you.